This is RTV6 News at 7, working for you.
And now at 7, some parts of the country are moving ahead with reopening plans despite big increases in coronavirus cases. Thanks for joining us here. I'm Mark Mullins. As of tonight, Indiana is not seeing a COVID spike like the ones in Florida, Arizona, and Texas. Today, the State Department of Health is reporting 533 new positive cases. That's the biggest daily increase since late May. But at the same time, the state's rate of positive tests continues to decline as more people get tested. Right now, it stands at 11.4%. Tonight, RTV6's Megan Sanctorum spoke with experts to see if a sudden spike is possible here in Indiana and how it could impact small businesses.
It's been a challenging few months for businesses like Needhammer Coffee as they adapt and try to find ways to survive the pandemic while following state guidelines. In-person seating is now allowed at 50% capacity. It's another step forward in the state's reopening plan and a positive trend for businesses. One they hope continues if case numbers in Indiana allow.
We want to care for our customers who come in, whether upstairs or downstairs, and to not be able to have that connection and say, yeah, come grab your stuff and leave, doesn't build that sense of community that's really, really important to us.
At this point, Indiana has not seen a new spike in COVID cases like other states. And some say it could be because the reopening process here has been slower and more data-driven. But a spike could still be on the way, especially when we hit the final stage of reopening in July.
It's just something we're going to have to keep looking at with the public health data that comes in. And hopefully, like I said, if we were to see an increase, some other measures would be taken to encourage more social distancing moving forward, because we don't want to get back to the same spot we were in back in March.
Experts say those measures could include things like enforcing mask use and putting restrictions back in place for businesses across the state. So now places like this are doing everything they can to keep the building sanitized and their community healthy. Working for you, Megan Sanctorum, RTV6.
We reached out to the governor's office to see what they are doing to prepare for a potential spike in new cases and what sort of restrictions we could see if that happens. We have not yet heard back. Epidemiologists say the best thing you can do to help prevent a spike is wear a mask and avoid large gatherings when you can. We're also keeping track of how Indiana's healthcare system is handling the coronavirus pandemic. According to the Regent Street Institute, 17% of Indiana's coronavirus patients have been hospitalized. 73% have recovered since the pandemic began. The Department of Health says 83% of the state's ventilators and 41% of its ICU beds are available as of today. If you got a chance to get outside, you saw that it was a picture-perfect, beautiful day. Blue skies, hardly any clouds out there. The question is, how long will we keep this kind of weather? Storm Team 6 Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory with your evening forecast.
And I think my nonverbal reaction, all smiles, tells you that nothing is changing here for a little bit, and the sun doesn't set for 2 more hours. You've got a chance to enjoy some mild temperatures and low humidity. We're down 2 degrees from the last hour. We're at 77 in Indianapolis. Just want to show you the clouds that have streamed back in from eastern Indiana and portions of Ohio and Kentucky into the state, but we'll wait. Our next chance for rain really doesn't arrive until Saturday, and on Father's Day we'll have a chance for rain. 77 in Peru, 79 in Evansville. Temperature in Indy at 77. These area temperatures will cool into the upper 50s tonight. We'll be at 61 at 8 a.m. We'll make our move tomorrow into the 80s. Should be low to mid 80s for an afternoon high. That's the beginning of a more significant warming trend.
Well, Indianapolis is bringing in some outside help to reform the city's criminal justice system and public safety efforts. It's Mayor Hogsett's latest step after weeks of calls for change locally and nationally. Indianapolis is partnering with New York University's School of Criminal Law to combine community input and data for a better look at issues that contribute to racial disparity. Mayor Hogsett says all of the information gathered and discussed will help the Metro Police Department improve operations.
We're trying not to suggest that this is a one-size-fits-all end of the conversation that needs to take place, but rather just part of a process that begins immediately.
The mayor also announced the city will be reviewing the action and response from IMPD during the protests over the past few weeks. He says that review is independent of the investigations happening internally at IMPD and in the prosecutor's office. Outrage is building and protests continue in Atlanta tonight. A medical examiner says 27-year-old Rayshard Brooks was killed Friday night after being shot in the back by a police officer. ABC's Trevor Alt has the story from Atlanta.
Outrage continues in Atlanta Monday. Demonstrators marching in the wake of the death of Rayshard Brooks, a black man shot and killed Friday night by a white police officer. Police body and dash cam footage captured the incident. Brooks struggling as officers tried to arrest him for suspicion of drunk driving, running away and appearing to point a stun gun at police when Officer Garrett Ralph opens fire, killing him with 2 shots to the back.
No, there's no justice that can ever make me feel happy about what's been done. I can never get my husband back.
Protesters calling for the defunding of their police departments, diverting money to other programs, and in some cases, rebuilding police departments from the ground up. Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot announcing the city will work with a group of community members who will review the police department's use of force guidelines and recommend necessary changes.
Ultimately, our goal is simple. Create better policies and better training for our officers in order to empower them to address situations appropriately.
New York Governor Andrew Cuomo signing 3 new laws today, requiring police report a weapon discharged within 6 hours, police departments to track arrest data, and officers to provide mental and medical help to anyone under arrest or in custody.
Every community has to now come to the table as a collaborative, local leadership, police, the community activists, and redesign their public safety function.
And on Capitol Hill, lawmakers from both parties say they don't want to defund police, but negotiations for a police reform bill are underway. And President Trump is said to be working to finalize an executive order. Trevor Alt, ABC News, Atlanta.
Hiring Hoosiers is RTV6's commitment to connecting you with job opportunities and resources throughout the pandemic. It's an initiative that's especially important with businesses closing, resulting in Hoosiers out of work. Now Courier is a logistics company that provides delivery options for companies primarily in the healthcare, e-commerce, and financial industries. Right now during the pandemic, they are busy transporting both COVID-19 and COVID-19 antibody tests to and from more than 60 Indiana labs and healthcare facilities. Because of that, they need to hire more drivers.
We need drivers as bad today as we did 3 months ago, and probably even worse than we'll need them here in the next couple months. So absolutely, we're looking for independent contract drivers who drive their own vehicle, run their own business. Unemployment with where it is, you know, I'd love to see some of those people who have not been able to, make money for their family come drive for us.
During the pandemic, Now Courier has seen a nearly 25% increase in healthcare-related deliveries due to COVID-19. They provide drivers with the supplies required for a safe and timely transport. WRTV is teaming up with Kroger and Second Helpings to raise money and feed Indiana families. From now until the 21st, you can round up or make a donation when you check out at select Kroger locations. The money will go directly to Second Helpings and to families struggling to put food on the table. Demand for food assistance is nearly double what it was before the coronavirus pandemic.
We want to eliminate hunger in Kroger communities, and right now, the need for that kind of support is greater than it's ever been. We know there are people who are coming to Second Helpings asking for help, people who've never needed help before. So we're trying to do everything we can to support that work and support the people of our communities.
Working together, WRTV and the Scripps Howard Foundation will match up to $12,000 in donations. For more ways to help, just head to theindychannel.com. Still ahead here on the news at 7, comparing your options for a summer getaway while cutting down on your risk of coronavirus. But first, how the state is stepping up to help with one of the lesser-known impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Just search RTV6.
The Rebound Indiana is keeping track of the way state agencies are stepping up to help Hoosiers handle the trickle-down impacts of the coronavirus pandemic. RTV6's Amanda Starantino shows you why funding is on the way to help with a recent increase in opioid overdoses.
4,700. That is roughly how many Hoosiers have overdosed since the beginning of this year. And that's a 35% increase compared to this time last year. Now, that's why the state is putting forward $1 million to make sure thousands of doses of naloxone is available to any Hoosier family who is battling addiction to bring hope for successful recovery. It's a fight that Dottie Grubb has been tirelessly fighting. Her 38-year-old son has suffered from addiction for the past 16 years. It's a lonely road, but Dottie has a tool to keep her son fighting another day.
I'm very thankful, and he's very thankful for naloxone because it has saved his life several times. I've administered it several times.
Dottie is one of thousands of Hoosiers carrying naloxone in the case of an overdose.
Once the disease has hijacked the brain, it's no longer their choice, and we should do everything we can to save people, and especially when it is so easy as in using naloxone.
Douglas Huntsinger is the state's executive director of drug prevention, treatment, and enforcement. He says because of the pandemic and the lack of access to in-person treatment for addicts, it has been a brutal cycle for those facing addiction. With a $1 million state opioid response grant from the Health and Human Services Administration, the state partnered with the nonprofit Overdose Lifeline to fund 25,000 doses of naloxone all across the state.
This is the biggest thing that we can do right now while people are still a little disconnected, having to do things virtually and not being able to be in person. This is the one thing we can do that will ensure that we save as many lives as possible.
This is going to have a huge impact because it's 25,000 kids. We didn't have this much access. We didn't have this easy access. We didn't have this ability really 24/7 if required to get people the overdose reversal drug. So we're going to save lives.
This state-funded naloxone supply has been delivered to Justin Phillips, the executive director of Overdose Lifeline. And this cause is personal. Her son, Aaron, overdosed in 2013. She doesn't want any family to experience the same thing she did, and this is work she's already familiar with.
We know grassroots distribution is effective. We have the reputation in the communities. We have partners on the ground across the state that can help make this happen, and just grateful that we can really do some life-saving stuff in the middle of all this other difficult time in our country.
Dottie keeps her naloxone supply stocked through Overdose Lifeline and wants every person with an addicted loved one to do the same.
There's so many people that just don't understand the value of it and how important it is for everyone. Everyone should be carrying it.
The 25,000 doses of naloxone from the state is available to any family member, individual, or organization that distributes naloxone in the state of Indiana. Now, those requests have to be made through Overdose Lifeline, and they're working to get those processed between 1 and 2 days and shipped to your home. Working for you in Indianapolis, Amanda Starrentino, WRTV.
We are settling into what will become a summer pattern. We'll talk about our newfound warmth, how long that'll stick around, and how long you'll wait for rain. Coming up.
5-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty.
With summer approaching and states reopening, you might be considering a trip, but getting to your destination while avoiding COVID-19 remains a challenge. CNN spoke with infectious disease experts about the safety of flying versus driving if you're planning a vacation. There are risks with both. Experts say on a plane, you're more dependent on others to follow hygiene rules. In a car, you and your family are in control even if you make stops. Regardless, experts say it's important to wear a mask and wash or sanitize your hands frequently.
Well, Mark, we'll watch the warmth expand from the central U.S. and include much of the eastern half of the country, and that'll send our temperatures for the first time in Indianapolis above the 90-degree mark. We're becoming more efficient at warming up because the ground is dry, so we're not spending time evaporating moisture from the ground. Temperatures climb tomorrow, Wednesday, then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, all 3 days very close to 90 degrees, if not up and over that mark. We'll back off a little bit as we get to Sunday and Monday. Okay, we're dry Tuesday through Friday. The next real chance for some rain arrives as we get to the weekend. Until then, we won't feel a whole lot of humidity either. It's certainly something that we can handle. As far as our temperatures, 76 in Muncie, 80 in Terre Haute. Most everybody had just below average temperatures through the day today. See the deer crossing? John Means, a loyal viewer and a friend of mine here in Avon, took that picture just a little bit ago. So quietly moving through the backyard, still was able to grab a picture of that. Temperatures tomorrow into the low to mid 80s. It won't be windy. Wind will be east at around 10 miles per hour. Wednesday, we'll break it down and work our way from north to south. Middle to upper 80s. Prevailing temperature, most areas will stay shy of 90. We'll save that for Thursday and as we get to Friday and Saturday. There are the temperatures. Bedford and Seymour, 2 of the warm spots at 88. Friday, the warmest day in my forecast for Indianapolis, 91. The record for the date, 97. As we go into the weekend, our chance for showers and thunderstorms shows up. That's perhaps a chance that you'd like to take advantage of and get some rain. We've only had measurable rain once in the last week or longer for most of us. Chance of thunderstorms a little bit higher on Father's Day. 7 a.m. Saturday, best chance of rain Lafayette towards Chicago. Of course, this timing may change, but you see it becomes fairly or a little more widespread during the heat of the day in the afternoon. That may battle and fight the temperatures a little bit, trying to reach the lower 90s. Father's Day, 40% chance for additional thunderstorms. And notice the overnight lows. They'll move from 58 tomorrow morning down to or up to 72 by Father's Day. Overnight lows warming up and afternoon highs. But enjoy a great evening that's in progress right now.
Will do. Thank you, Kevin, for that. Hey, you've seen the ads. Maybe you've even landed on an email list. It's someone touting what they say is a way that you can make big money while working from home. Well, a lot of people are working from home these days. Tim Maniscalco with the Better Business Bureau of Central Indiana tells us not all work from home ideas are created equally.
Well, we've seen a huge uptick in these work-at-home schemes, and here seems to be the one that is really prevalent out there. What you're going to get is a work-at-home scheme where you're going to be a re-shipper. You're going to get some items. Usually these are things like cell phones, personal computers, a lot of electronic sorts of things, and you're going to be asked to re-ship those. Well, here's the deal on that. Number one, they're going to offer you some very lucrative pay for this, and you're not going to get paid for it. But number two, most of these items have been bought with, fake credit cards, with stolen gift cards, maybe even they've just been stolen outright, and they're usually shipped somewhere outside the country. So you're actually helping criminals at this point. So just be really on the lookout for these work-at-home scams, particularly re-shipping scams. They seem to be very, very prevalent. And like you said, there's a lot of people out of work. It looks like great work. They offer you great money. You're not going to get paid for it, and you're going to be helping a criminal. So be on the lookout for those. We've seen a huge uptick in these types of scams over the last month or so.
And you can find more tips for avoiding scams and saving money at our website, theindychannel.com/money. RTV6 News at 7. We'll be right back.
Only on RTV6.
If you're looking for a way to keep your kids busy this summer while expanding their minds, you still have some time to enroll them in the Indianapolis Public Library's summer reading program. For the program's 101st year, things are a bit different. Instead of tracking the number of books, you now track the amount of time your child spends reading. We talked to a children's librarian at IPL's Wayne branch who says the program is more important this year than ever since kids have been out of school.
By putting your child in the summer reading program, you can help to combat even an elongated summer slide, which is what we might be seeing after this summer. By having your child read 20 minutes a day, they can, keep their reading ability up and also earn prizes, which what's not to love about that?
The program runs until August 1st. Some library branches are reopening to the public today. Curbside services are available at other branches. You can find out more information online at indyipl.org. You can soon expect a knock on your door if you still haven't filled out your census. The Census Bureau says workers will start going door to door again beginning next month. The Bureau suspended in-person visits when the coronavirus pandemic began, and the deadline for people to respond was moved from the end of July to the end of October. So far, about 60% of households have responded to the census, mostly online or through the mail. A live look there showing you this beautiful evening. Get out there and enjoy it if you can. Thanks for joining us. We're back with you tonight for RTV6 News at 11.